What's going on, Bulls fans? We're back for another episode of Chicago Bulls Central. I'm your host, Haize. And you guys know what I'm here to talk about. I know. I'm a little bit late with this one, and I do want to apologize. I've been really good at like dropping the news as it happens, but fortunately, it had to bury my grandfather this past Friday. And I do want to dedicate this episode to Bernard James, my grandfather, lifelong Chicagoan, Bears and Sox fan, and also the Bulls. And so, yeah, so it's been an emotional time for my family. But off that, we're gonna get off that. So we got to talk about this news, and unfortunately, the Bulls got hit with their first. Well, let me not say first because we did have the Kobe White injury, but first big injury coming out of like the offseason and everything. And unfortunately, we lost Patrick Williams to a severe ankle sprain, is what is being diagnosed as. Now, this initially when this report happened, everybody immediately went to Patrick Williams missing the beginning of the season, which very well may still happen, right? But the Bulls came out to clarify the injury actually happened on September 15th. So we're actually 10 days as of this recording removed from the injury. They waited a week to announce it. So that would put his timeline at, if it's on the 4-week end of the spectrum, that would mean that he's able to return October 13th, which is a few days before the season opener. So we're definitely going to lose him for all of the preseason, but he may be back by the season opener. Now, are the Bulls going to start him coming right off the injury? That's the question that remains to be seen. I think with Patrick Williams' contribution to this team and his role, that I could see a time in which, if he's healthy, he just goes right back into the starting lineup. But because of what this season means and what we hope to obtain this season, you want to make sure that he's at his healthiest. So let's say that he comes back closer to the end of that 4 to 6 week timeline. That will put him back October 27th, which at that point we would have played 4 games. So still very early in the season. Again, how they bring him along after that, I for one, and I know there may be Bulls fans that disagree with that, and that's fine, is that I really do hope that they hold him closer to that 6, even if he's ready to go at 4 weeks, another week or maybe the full 6 weeks after that, because we want to make sure that that ankle is fully healed before he comes back. Ankle sprains are one of those things that can linger on the full season if you aren't given the proper rest to really let that heal. We don't want that to happen. We need Patrick Williams at his best. And so because of that, I really do hope that the Bulls allow him that. And let me not say the Bulls. I really do hope that just overall, whenever he comes back, he's fully healthy. And this isn't something that he's dealing with a little bit over the course of the full season, because then we may never get, especially with Patrick Williams' role being that of a defensive player who gets his shots where he can, but that defense, his defense is so important to what we can do as a team, especially when you talk about some of the one-on-one offensive limitations of some of the members of this team. You really do want, and we need Patrick Williams to be at his best defensively. And so that ankle, we want that to heal up. Now, of course, that brings about questions into, how is this going to affect the Bulls starting? We already know that front and big man lineup is very, let me not say it's thin, but we don't have a lot of huge quality depth, at least as far as on paper. Now, some of these players may show up and really surprise us. Now, who starts in the place of Patrick Williams? Do you slide DeMar down? I don't think that. I don't think the Bulls do that. I could be wrong. Again, I'm not an expert on this. I could completely be wrong. But I really wouldn't mind seeing, and this is, again, we haven't seen any of these players play, and I really do think that picture is going to become more clear over the preseason. This is really an opportunity for some of the guys like Marco to show if they can contribute to this team right away. Also, Bradley, DJ, what does DJ do? Troy Brown, these are the players that I'm looking at least to say. Oh, Alize Johnson too. Let me not forget about Alize Johnson, because I really do think, just with the heart that he plays with and everything, that I wouldn't mind seeing Alize get a chance to be out there with the starters. He's really he can shoot some. So the Bulls have options. I don't want to act like they don't have options. It's just how those options fit into the starting lineup and how they contribute and what level they're willing to contribute or able to contribute at very early on. That's going to remain to be seen. And so, Patrick Williams we know he's the future, right? He is the future of this team. And, it sucks that he's starting off the season with an injury, but let's look at it this way. Would you rather happen at the beginning of the season or would you rather happen at the end of the season? And I'd rather get stuff like this out of the way. And again, it also allows us that opportunity to see some of the guys and to really get them to get some playing time that otherwise would have had to try to find their minutes and really show and practice what they have. Now in the preseason, at least, they are going to really get a chance to show what they have. And then, we can see what this team has going forward. Now, I was going to actually do Vooch next as my player profile, but with the injury to Patrick Williams, I figured, and since we're talking about him, we might as well jump in and do our player profile on Patrick Williams and what he projects and how he projects to contribute to this team in the 2021-22 season. And the thing with Patrick Williams, you hear a lot of comps, right? You hear comps to Kawhi Leonard. Bulls fans love comparing him to Kawhi Leonard. Paul George is another one as well. And I want to use them as comparisons for this reason, right? I know some Bulls fans really think that Patrick Williams is going to be able to come in his second season and really show up. And I'm not saying that that's outside of the realm of possibility, but what it seems like the Bulls are going to do is the smart thing. Is things like, if you want to compare it to Kawhi, if you want to compare him to PG, Kawhi's game, they added to Kawhi's game every year and they allowed him time to flourish into the player he ultimately became. They didn't throw him out there and all of a sudden was like, yeah, you're a second best player, let's go. That's not what they did. And it's going to be similar with Patrick Williams. You guys have to allow him time. In this, I really don't think that Patrick Williams is going to be a huge, get a lot of scoring opportunities, maybe until year 4 of his career. And that's not a problem. He's going to add to his game, add to that consistency in playing on offense. Another player, like I said, Paul George. We tend to remember what Paul George is, but let's not forget Paul George added and got better every single year until he took over that team in Indiana. And so, especially when we have a player like Zach, and hopefully we lock him in long term, you have the ability to not need to make Patrick Williams your second or third option right away. And I know that as Bulls fans, we've waited so long for this team to get to a place of being respectable again. And I understand why we want Patrick Williams to be, and we look at Patrick Williams as, because we see what he can be, right? The fact that at 19 years old, he was one of the best defenders, one-on-one defenders in the league right out the gate. That's before the game has gotten a chance to slow down for him. That's before he's got a chance to learn any of the 3 and 4 year veteran techniques that players add to them and the tips and the tricks. And that's also before the refs really respect him as well. Patrick Williams is going to be a player in this league. Now, how and what level he's able to contribute at, that's going to remain to be seen. The sky's the limit for the kid right now. And because of that, it makes sense why he's brought along. The fact that he started day 1, right? The fact that the Bulls started him day 1 goes to show you what they think he can be. We've seen it. We've seen the potential there in him. And so when we talk about what his role on this 21-22 team is, it's really going to be much like last year. It's going to be to play solid defense, keep your head up, play good team defense, get in the lanes, disrupt things. Like, he's going to be that disruptive force on the defensive end that every really good team needs. And with that being said, when he's in there with the starters, he's not going to get a lot of shots. But the thing that I hope that they do with him, and we saw it a little bit in the Summer League, and again, Summer League is completely different competition, but they played through Patrick Williams. And if that's the role that they see him in, and he did a good job at it, if that's ultimately where they see and hope that he can grow and develop in, and they want to develop that part of his game, a player at Patrick Williams' size, he doesn't have great speed, but the combination of strength, size, defensive ability, he needs to add that ability to hit open shots, because he's going to get open shots. It may not come frequently, but he's going to get wide open shots just by the makeup of this team. The ability to knock those out, to make defenders respect you on the offense and defensive end. Patrick Williams is going to be that energy guy. And I know Caruso, I love Caruso, right? And we know Caruso is going to be a guy that this franchise loves, and he's a Chicago type of player. But really, when we look at Patrick Williams, LaVine may be the best player on this team. When it all comes and is said and done, Patrick Williams may be the heart of this team. And so He's the future. He's the present in a lot of ways. And so 2021, I'm sorry, 21-22. I really think this is just a refinement year for Patrick Williams. It's a year where he's going to add to his game. He's going to be more dangerous, hopefully. But don't expect him to jump up from those 9 points a game to all of a sudden now being a 10, 15, 16 point per game scorer. That's probably going to come in year 3, especially when you look at like DeMar, with the fact that we added DeMar as DeMar, because DeMar's going to get worse over the course of this contract. And we need Patrick Williams to start stepping in and filling it. They have really, like I said before, when we made the offseason moves, we made great moves for the present, but also really good moves for the future of this team as well. And Patrick Williams is the future of this team. And so, I don't think that Patrick Williams is going to have that role where, he's looked at to do a lot offensively. But he doesn't need to be that right now. But let me know down below. You guys may disagree. You guys may want to see Patrick Williams be featured more on offense. And I can't argue with that. This is just where I see that he goes and how they help him progress. But I mean, that's just my thoughts. Like, I can completely see a scenario in which Patrick Williams, by the midway point through the season, has progressed so much that it really changes a lot of this outlook that I have. But let me know down below what you guys think. As always, as I like to end every episode in, go Bulls. I love you guys. Peace.